Let me know once you do.
All right, we are recording.
All right, the time is 6 p.m. on April 12th, 2021, and I'd like to call this meeting of the Cultural Arts Commission to order. In the interest of public health and safety and pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order N2920, members of the Cultural Arts Commission and staff are participating in this meeting by teleconference. In accordance with the Executive Order, the public may view this meeting online, but not in the Civic Center Branch Library Conference Room. The city launched a virtual commenting portal, eComment, that allows residents to comment and participate in the meeting from their own homes. You can find the link to eComment at www.chulavista.ca.gov/virtual meetings. Your comments must be received before I call for the close of the commenting period in order to be considered. After the commenting period is closed, I will announce a brief pause to allow the commissioners time to read any comments that have been received. If you have difficulty or need assistance with eComment during the meeting, please call 619-691-5138 and library staff will assist you. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna put the link up for the comments. Put that up, so hopefully you will see that. All right. Commissioner Bishop.
Present.
Commissioner Kosi.
Present.
Commissioner Maynard.
Here.
Commissioner Redondo.
Here.
Commissioner Roberts. Commissioner J. Rodriguez.
Present.
Commissioner T. Rodriguez.
Present.
Commissioner Ward.
Present.
And Chair Gray.
Did you say Chair Gray?
Yes.
Oh, present. Sorry.
Okay.
All right.
And so we have one, Commissioner Roberts is absent.
So the first order of business is the consent calendar. We need to approve the minutes for February 8th.
And the also the communication from Chair Gray for her excused absence.
Oh, yeah.
February 8th. You all got the docs that I emailed to you?
Yes.
I sent you an email for my last absence, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was already, we already
Okay, cool.
yeah, and that's going to be later. I'm sorry, Commissioner Kosi, that's for the next meeting because I couldn't get it on the agenda for this one. Yeah.
No problem. No problem.
I have a note about the minutes.
Okay.
Is this what we're talking about that? Yeah. Under number 4, the action says Commissioner Bishop moved to eliminate the emergency art support subcommittee.
Oh.
I think assign should be eliminated in that sentence.
I could change that. All right, so I will make that change for the grammatical error.
You want me to call for a 2-minute pause now or after the approval?
I think it's hold on, let's see here. I always forget what we're supposed to do here.
I think the reason assign was there is because at first we talked about reassigning them, but then we said that we wanted them to be able to have input into that. So is that should that go somewhere in that?
For the reassignment. So here's what happened. The it was voted on, but the reassignment was never like done. We just moved on to the next item. So it actually is an action item for this meeting today that we do it. That's the actual like you all do it. You vote on the reassignment of the support subcommittee. So that was my error. I forgot to mention that you were supposed to vote on that too, and we just kind of moved on. So I had to like include that in this one to follow up on that last one.
Is there any way you guys can turn the volume up on your end for anyone talking? I don't know if it's my computer, but I can barely hear you guys.
I hear everybody really well.
I think it's my work computer, but I don't know how to fix it, and I can barely hear anyone when I speak. So I have the volume up to 100, so I'm not really sure.
Is everybody equally quiet, or are some people more quiet than others?
Now for them, I mean, I can make out what you're saying, but it's very, very low. But it's for everyone. So can you give me a second? Let me see if I can fix it.
Is there volume control in the actual WebEx window?
I got it.
Yay!
got it.
All right. Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, so we need to get approval for the February minutes and the written communications for my absence.
So moved.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes being amended and also accept the letter for the absenteeism of our president.
Second.
So I do have somebody, an attendee. Is that Vanessa? Is that Morgan? Is that Vanessa is part of your presentation? Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt because I had to make sure because I want to move her up because we still do have to do that the public comment part. Sorry.
You're talking.
Morgan, are you there? Yeah, I want to make sure this attendee is not an actual public member or if Vanessa is part.
Yes, Vanessa is part of the SDG&E
Okay.
presentation.
So I'm going to make her a panelist. Hold on just a moment because I want to do this. I want to make sure the public is the public and the presenters are all presenters. Hold on. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay. All right. So at this point, before you make the motion, we do have to do the timer. So you know the routine. So here we go.
All right. I will now call for a 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final comments on items on the consent calendar. Commissioners, as a reminder, please refresh the view on your screen to ensure new comments appear. Will staff please display the public comment and start the timer? All right. The commenting period for this item is now closed. Have the commissioners, I don't think there's any comments though, right? I reloaded. Did anyone see any comments on there?
No comments.
All right.
No emails.
Do any commissioners wish to pull an item? We have 0 comments. So is there a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar? I believe, do we want to do that whole motion again?
Yes, yeah, please.
I make a motion that we approve the items on the consent calendar.
Do I have a second?
I second that. Can I amend the motion to say and accept Sophia Gray's letter?
So that was Commissioner Maynard who,
Oh, I have a motion by Chair Maynard and second by Chair Bishop. Secretary, please conduct the roll call vote.
all right, Commissioner Bishop,
Aye.
Commissioner Kosi,
Aye.
Commissioner Maynard,
Aye.
Commissioner Redondo,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts is absent. Commissioner J. Rodriguez,
Aye.
Commissioner T. Rodriguez,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward,
Aye.
and Chair Gray.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
All right, the consent calendar has passed. This is only if we have items removed though, right, Erwin?
Yeah, so just you can skip that whole
All
block.
the way up to the commenting period?
The commenting period is only if there's
Yeah, we're good.
if there's items removed from consent calendar for discussion.
Perfect. Public comments is a section on the agenda for members of the public to address the board on items that are not listed on the agenda. I will now call for a 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final public comments. As a reminder, commissioners, please refresh the view on your screen to ensure new comments appear.
Oops, you're muted. They're all unmuted. Okay, there.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Gosh, long day. The commenting period for public comments is now closed. Have the commissioner, no, there's no comments, so we're good. The next item on the agenda is item number 3, SDG&E beautification project. SDG&E Community Relations Manager, Morgan Justice Black is here with us today.
All right, Morgan, I'm going to make you presenter.
Okay, there we go. I see that.
All right.
Let me pull up my slides here. right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
If it's not working, I'll do it. Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you for confirming. And my colleague Vanessa is on the line as well. Vanessa, are you there?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, my name is Vanessa Garcia, and I'm happy to join Morgan and the Commission. Thank you so much for having us this evening. We're looking forward to presenting you a program that has been largely successful throughout SDG&E's service territory. So on behalf of our 4,000 colleagues, we look forward to engaging you in a conversation tonight about an infrastructure beautification project that we anticipate allowing, in a nutshell, to serve as a canvas for some community art. On the next page, perhaps, Morgan, or on the next slide, we can begin our presentation. Thanks so much. So my name is Vanessa Garcia, Public Affairs Manager for SDG&E, and I'm the Interim Public Affairs Manager for South County. Morgan perhaps will introduce herself a little bit later as well. Morgan Justice Black has been the lead on this program in the city of Chula Vista and has a role in our community relations team supporting beautification projects. So I like to say sustainability efforts throughout our service territory. I'm going to give you a background on SDG&E's infrastructure beautification project next. So throughout our service territory, you may look at SDG&E's infrastructure, whether it be, a gas riser project, a substation, a utility box, and in some cases, you may or may not be aware that it's an SDG&E asset in a nutshell. We have been spending a great deal of time looking at opportunities to beautify these assets, if you will, but also to ensure that they're part of the fabric of the community. So by sponsoring this beautification and allowing community artists to use these as part of a backdrop or as part of an effort to ensure that major transportation corridors, are considered safe, but also considered, beautiful areas of passage. We've been spending a little bit of time ensuring that we can upgrade these elements of our infrastructure. Recently, we've been able to have some beautification efforts that we've sponsored in the areas of Imperial Beach, National City, so a lot in South Bay, as you'll see, East Village, Claremont. These are areas where we've had some mural work that has been done, in some cases mosaic work, in some cases panels that you'll see on the following slides. Next slide, thanks, Morgan. So the purpose of this infrastructure project that Morgan has brought to you is to see if we can provide a canvas for an electricity, Morgan, actually, maybe you want to begin on this slide. I think that I was going to be describing a little bit about this infrastructure of this pad mount, but in a nutshell, a pad mount is basically like a large utility box that you may see. It's risen maybe a few feet off of the ground, and it looks like a green utility box. We've had success with making these like large canvases in a nutshell. They're critical infrastructure that pretty much they're part of our distribution network. So they pretty much allow high level voltage to be dropped down into a safer level of voltage that reaches your home. So it's important for us to make sure that it's safe to paint these pieces of infrastructure. Traditionally, our infrastructure is really only painted green, and we like to make sure that it's maintained and kept safe for the interest of the community in terms of our mission to serve the community with safe and reliable energy. But the rest of this project, I'd love, Morgan to kind of expand upon some of her vision and creative outlet for this particular piece of infrastructure.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thanks for kicking us off. So to give you a lay of the land, here is a map, and you'll see in this little yellow or the little red dot, this is the North Otay Pad Mount. It is on 4th Avenue near Chula Vista High School and Rice Elementary School. The intention here, the state, when I did Google image search, this is the image that came up for this location. Tell it was a bit run down, had an old chain link fence. It wasn't really in the best of shape. Recently, as part of our work to beautify and upgrade this site, we have done some preliminary work, which includes creating a new wrought iron fence, installing a concrete driveway, and leveling the site and removing weeds and other material. What we think the future of this site might be, and I don't know why this image is coming from this, but we think that there's quite a bit of potential for this location. I'll actually scroll up to the beginning to show you this image. You know, the idea of putting artwork, affixing the artwork to the wrought iron fence. We've also, this is a different pad mount. This is in the North Park area. This one is in the Encanto area. And you can see that both of them have been painted. The one in Encanto was painted to reflect the community character. And really the intention here is to make things look a little bit better for the community, as well as to make people understand that these are not intended to be eyesores. They're an important part of our energy delivery system. For all of these projects that we've done in the past, we've engaged a community-based organization to facilitate a community input process, as well as do community engagement. That might be inviting the community to a painting day or facilitating specific feedback on, you know, the theme, the colors, what really integrates with the community character. So we have not begun in earnest the artistic elements of this project yet, but we wanted to come to the Arts Commission tonight to let you know of our intention with this program and to get your input so that we can make sure to move through a process that meets your goals as the commission, as well as sets us up for success. So I do have some other photos of past projects that I can share if you would like. Otherwise, we'd like to leave the remainder of the conversation for input from the group.
Do the commissioners have any questions or anything they'd like to discuss before we go to public comment?
Yeah, aren't those boxes already painted in Imperial Beach on Palm Avenue?
Imperial Beach, yes, we've painted some on Palm. We've also done a project, I don't have it here, I don't think, but we did another project at, I think it was it Palm and Thermal? I can't recall, but we did a substation there as well.
Any other commissioners?
So
Is there any kind of theme at all, or is it just kind of, you know, you find a community artist and say have at it?
Traditionally, we like to involve the community, and the theme that typically resonates with the community is something having to do with community character or the history of the community. For example, this project that we did in Claremont, they're a community of canyons. And so they wanted to reflect their canyons, their wildlife, their open spaces. And for this project that we did in National City, they have a rich history with the trolley. And so they wanted the trolley to be represented in some capacity. So to answer your question, no, SDG&E does not have a specific theme. However, we you know, lend ourselves to the community's voice on that matter.
Commissioner? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say on Imperial Avenue in Southeast San Diego, aren't the boxes already painted?
Yes, I believe that a number of them are. Vanessa, if I remember correctly, you are partnering with, is it the Southeast Art Team and Kim P on that project?
Yes, that was I should say, a group of different agencies. At the end of the day, I think the Jacob Center for Innovation, in addition to the Southeast Art Team that's managed by an artist named Kim P, were the local artists that were, I want to say, engaged to support that effort in a number of different communities. You know, Morgan and I have done a great job, I think, to be real with you all, about supporting these efforts where we can, where there's opportunity and alignment. When I say that, it's not every infrastructure project in SDG&E service territory is poised for upgrade and maintenance that allows us to kind of align the stars, if you will, to ensure we have funding and the connectivity to the community and a major transportation corridor to allow for this. So when we do have that opportunity where the stars align, if you will, to engage our team to support some of these projects, ultimately what Morgan and I have envisioned doing is ensuring that there's a local artist engaged. So in the case of Imperial and Euclid, we did engage an artist from the community, similarly in Imperial Beach. And I think in some other cases, we have engaged local artists that are selected, or if not, that work in like a focus group area with an organization that that represents the community, or on behalf of an organization. It could be a chamber of commerce, it could be a planning commission. So it's very unique in every community, and our role really here is to support being part of the fabric of the community.
How do you find your artists?
We traditionally work with a community-based organization. So in each of these examples, we've worked with a community organization, and they have either solicited artists locally, or they have engaged students or other members of the community that aren't, professionally trained artists.
And are the artists compensated?
Yeah, the artists are compensated. Each of these programs has a budget associated with it that allows for the facilitation of a community engagement process, as well as the artistic element itself.
Do you choose Chula Vista? I mean, it's in Chula Vista. So you're saying communities. Are you saying within the city of Chula Vista, you're going to be choosing artists, or do you just mean San Diego?
We would be looking at South County specifically. A recommendation that I would love from you guys, it doesn't necessarily have to be tonight, but in the future, we've done a number of projects in National City, and we've worked with both A Reason to Survive or Arts in National City, as well as Four Walls International in National City. So to the extent this similar community-based organization exists within the boundaries of Chula Vista, we would love to partnership with them. And if that doesn't exist, we might rely on our friends just up the road in National City to help support.
When I see infrastructure and art, the first thing that comes to my head is graffiti artists. Is there any program that you guys engage with that kind of works with graffiti artists to get them doing legit projects? So there's some sort of way of lifting their work up, because there's a lot of really amazing artists that work in graffiti as their materials
medium.
Or whatnot.
Yeah. At this point in time, we have not, that I'm aware of, but it's not to say that it's that we can't. I just don't know that those opportunities are elevated in our community discussions thus far.
Okay.
I will say, arts commissioners, what I think is important for you to be mindful and know is that when there is graffiti on our infrastructure, we do work really, really closely with the community, and in some cases, police department and whatnot, to ensure that we are painting that infrastructure right away, so as to not allow the pervasive use of our infrastructure for graffiti and to minimize that. So that is a program that SDG&E does. But these programs that we're doing are a little distinct. They're not part of the safety or reliability of the infrastructure. They're more about our community engagement and our support of being a part of the community and ensuring that these assets kind of blend in as there is more growth around all of our infrastructure throughout our service territory.
Right, I hear you. My thing is, if there is an opportunity for people who are doing infrastructure graffiti that is not sanctioned, giving them an actual canvas to do sanctioned work, because there are amazing artists out there that are doing stuff just because they have nowhere else to paint or nowhere else to express themselves. So
that's a great point, Commissioner Bishop. And just to kind of go along with what you're saying, I know Mac Charter School here in the South Bay works a lot with graffiti artists. They actually have like a whole area of their school designed to give a platform to these students that would normally be out in the street, doing graffiti, but not in a specific canvas. And so they've kind of given that opportunity to their students. You may even be able to find some student artists that are local that would be willing to participate in something like this.
I was also thinking, if we have enough notice on things like this, this could be something that we actually include with the local artist opportunity subcommittee that we were talking about.
Yeah, that's a good
As far
idea.
as like opportunities for artists in Chula Vista, making sure that that's included in that website or forum, or however we establish it.
But to clarify, is that an acting subcommittee that you are operating currently, the local artist opportunity subcommittee?
Yes. We actually have a subcommittee, which is the purpose of it is basically to gather various creative opportunities for artists here locally.
Great.
As a resource for them to, basically get paid to do projects. So
connecting artists with work, basically.
Yep.
Right.
And I'm always going to push for student artists because I'm in education. I'm not trying to be biased, but we have a lot of students that would typically not get these types of opportunities. And a lot of them who would normally, do graffiti to vandalize property, but once they're given the opportunity to show and display their work, they realize that they could really, make a living out of something like this. That could really benefit from stuff like this. I'm just throwing it out there. You might even find some that are just willing to do it just to get that experience, which, for them is, the most important thing is just to get out there. So.
I can share with you all that I think it's important that everyone know that this opportunity extends beyond this project. So there are a number of organizations that sponsor themselves and coordinate and facilitate student engagement to paint. I've done that a little bit in Claremont, where the local planning group engages, I think, a Boy Scout troop and a Girl Scout troop in a local school, and they each take responsibility for certain utility boxes, and it's coordinated through that effort, and they seek funding from the business community or whatnot. So we do have, and I'm happy to share with the Arts Commission, a utility box beautification form, so that those who ever want to use our assets, they may not all be able to be sponsored by SDG&E, because you can imagine the amount of assets throughout the company, but we do want to ensure that they're safe to paint, and we do allow it if it's in a major transportation corridor. We have to have some restrictions for residential and whatnot, but other than that, that is definitely an opportunity for students and others.
And I would actually say that even if we are using students, we should still be paying, because a student will probably take an opportunity, but we need to make take the stand that artists should be paid for their work, whether they're just starting off or not.
Good point. Any other questions or comments, commissioners?
comment, didn't we hire some artists to do the graffiti at Jerry Mark Road and 8 and 5, Highway 5? We did some murals over there last year, and some artists were hired for that project.
So yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, we have a ton of local artists that I'm sure, you know, if one obviously they're paid for their work, but two, I'm sure that they'd be willing to you know, put their work out there and you know, show a little bit of the community within those areas. So
I have another question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, my question. So, are you asking us for recommendations? Is that what you're doing here, or is it just you want us to put the word out, or?
Our intention first is to make sure that you're notified that we intend to move forward with this project and gain any insights that you might have to inform our efforts, as well as gain your buy-in, you know, as the Arts Commission. Additionally, we would love for, you know, any recommendations in terms of organizations like Mac Charter School or others that we might want to consider working with as we move forward with this process.
I have two questions. One that came out of what you just said. What is the timeline for this?
I mean, there is some flexibility. Obviously, working in a COVID environment tends to elongate the timeline a bit on things. However, we have already moved forward with the fence, you know, the new fence, the fence replacement, as well as the other things. So we're ready to start the process. Typically, with the public engagement, the identification of the artist, and then the actual implementation, it typically takes a couple of months in order to do it right.
Okay. And then my next question is, I've seen some of these awesome boxes that have been painted. My question is, what is the maintenance schedule on these painted boxes? Because I've seen a lot that have kind of come into disrepair. Do you hire to touch up? What's that process?
What's the lifespan?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So with this project, some of the pad mounts are outside of the utility fence, as is the case in the top left picture, but some of them are inside the fence. So with those that are inside the fence, it's likely that they would not need much in the way of maintenance because their access is restricted. For those that are on, you know, the outside or that are, you know, accessible to the public, we find that by creating art, we actually minimize defacing or destructive behaviors that might occur otherwise. But we do encourage that all of the boxes have a anti-graffiti coating on them at the end. And then if somebody does see graffiti, like if a community member identifies non-sanctioned graffiti on top of the artwork, they can let us know, and we typically send somebody out to use like the anti-graffiti like wipes to get that off. We do not touch up the boxes with artistic touch-ups. That's kind of outside of it.
So my question is also about like wear and tear on the actual original paint. So like I've seen some that have just kind of weather has chipped it away and whatnot.
Yeah, it certainly happens after time, but you know, most of the time, if they're using the proper materials that we identify in our guidelines, it should stand the test of time for a number of years.
Okay, thank you.
any other questions or comments? All right,
I have a
will
question.
now.
Question or
go ahead.
comment? Can you talk a little bit about the materials themselves? It seems to me that a lot of the pictures, just based on the pictures that you shown, were more of they were actually put on or painted on versus the materials themselves being more appealing or It's just they seem just so like the materials themselves. I'm wondering if they can be more artistic or more full of color or something.
To clarify, are you talking about like what we're actually painting on the boxes, like in the example here on the top here? Or are you talking about what's affixed to the fence?
No, I meant like on slide 15 you have there. Like I see the mural there. That's great. But then like the the slats there and the utility poles behind them. I know some of that is probably just regarding the safety features of it, but is there any thought about trying to make them look a little bit more blended into the skyline or into the like the fencing itself more of a mural than necessarily just brown slats?
Yeah, for sure. So the fencing that we plan to use at this location is the same fencing that we use here, which is a wrought iron fence, and it's already installed. So we don't really have any flexibility on that. It's also a safety issue to manage and deter people from coming in. However, in terms of the materials that we use to affix to the fence, in terms of the type of artistic materials, we're flexible. We do have to do a load study if we are going to attach anything to the fence to make sure that it is not impacted in terms of wind or throughput and things of that nature. But we can get creative. But no, to answer your question, we cannot alter the type of fence that we put in.
Yeah, I'm just looking more for like even the structure that's holding the power lines. If they were to be painted blue, it might match a little bit more with the sky instead of actually just sticking out there. All I'm trying to do is trying to be more thoughtful around, blending it in a little bit more than just seeing the structure there.
Well, the good thing is that the location that we're talking about tonight, the North Otay sub, doesn't have any of that stuff that's going higher than the fence. Everything is at fence level or below. I can't speak to the ability to paint the actual infrastructure that you're speaking of. That requires a lot more safety discussions than I'm privy to. But I don't think we'll have that problem in this specific instance.
And is the intention of this? Oh, I'm so sorry. Did you want to say something else? Okay, sorry. Is the intention of this space that it will look similar to the other space that, I'm sorry, I don't know which slide number it is, but the one that has all of the animals across or whatnot? Is the intention that it will be like that amount of covered? And if so, is it one artist doing all of it, or do you do individual artists doing different pieces within the theme?
That's flexible and up to the community. In the instance here that I'm referencing, there were different artists that were commissioned to do most of these works. A few of them did multiple, but there were certainly a number of artists.
Cool. And the intent is to cover it at the same level as like what this fence is?
That again is kind of up to the community's discretion. We've had some community members who have balked at the idea of having too much art or too much color, and we've had to manage those conversations. It also is again a little bit load dependent as you begin affixing heavier pieces of art onto a fence. You have to make sure that you have the proper footings to be able to support that load in the case of wind or other things. So I can't say for sure at this point, but we're flexible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All right, I will now call for a 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final comments. Commissioners, as a reminder, please refresh the view on your screen to ensure new comments appear. Will staff please display the public comment and start the timer?
All right, hold on. I need to make myself a presenter. Hold on. It's not doing it. All right, here we go. Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right, well, there's zero comments. I'm happy to chair, Greg.
She
Sorry,
sat down for
everyone.
a second.
Yeah,
Okay.
I need to talk to my principal for a second. I
Oh,
let
okay.
Jen know, so she's going to take over.
Okay. Where were we? Okay, yeah, so no comments. So to follow up, Morgan and Vanessa, so the subcommittee that was mentioned will probably be the ones discussing possible artists or groups who that we can connect you to. So stay tuned for that. And commissioners will have Morgan and Vanessa, I believe, is presenting again when the artists are chosen so that they can present. And then do another follow-up after that. But that's where we are. I mean, that's what's going to happen after that, after this presentation.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to share this program with you all tonight. We appreciate it.
And thank you, Morgan and Vanessa, for the presentation. Yeah, I look forward to seeing what you all come up with. And you are welcome to stick around for the rest of the meeting. Otherwise, you can go ahead and just enjoy the rest of your evening, or you can listen in as we move forward with the agenda here.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, ladies. All right, I'm back. The The next item on the agenda is item number 4, reassign members of the Eliminated Emergency Art Support Subcommittee. Does staff have a presentation?
Yeah, well, so my recommendation, so this is a follow-up to last time, and as I mentioned during the minutes approval, the last meeting there was a two-parter. It was eliminate the subcommittee, Emergency Art Support Subcommittee, but also reassign Chair Gray and Commissioner Ward, who were on the subcommittee, to the other subcommittees. But that never happened, and we just kind of kept on moving. So this is a follow-up to that, to kind of like, well, this is the second part of it that should have been done at the previous meeting. So, my recommendation is to keep Chair Gray assigned only to the Asset Mapping Subcommittee, and assign Commissioner Ward to the Economic Development Subcommittee.
Do the commissioners have any clarifying questions?
I guess so moved. Like, just need Christie to act on it then.
Sorry, Jeff, you were kind of cutting out for me.
Sorry. So we just need a motion to act then to just make those changes. Is all we're really looking for, right?
Yeah, unless you have different ideas for the commissioners to wherever they, but that's my recommendation.
Did the commissioners say what they wanted to do?
What was that?
Are we voluntelling them, or did they give input on this?
We're literally doing nothing in this. We did this in the last meeting. All you have to do is say yes.
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 Well, before we can do that, we still have to go to public comment, and then we can do a motion in a second. Yeah. But if anyone has clarifying questions, this would be the time to ask. Otherwise, we'll go to public comment. I'm going to take your silence as a no. So I will now call for a 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final comments on the item before commission deliberation. Commissioners, as a reminder, please refresh the view on your screen to ensure new comments appear. Okay, and it doesn't look like we had any comments.
None.
Okay, I will now, nope. Sorry. Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
I second.
So we had a motion by Commissioner Cosi and a second by Commissioner Maynard.
Yes.
All right. I will now request each member's vote by roll call. Oh, that was your part. Sorry. Sorry when I read your script.
That's okay.
I think I'm
I
honestly
will not
having.
request each member's roll call. I know. Yeah. Mine's in black and white, so I can't tell like what my role is. All right, Commissioner Bishop,
Aye.
Commissioner Kosi,
Aye.
Commissioner Maynard,
Aye.
Commissioner Redondo,
Aye.
Commissioner Roberts is absent. Commissioner J. Rodriguez,
Aye.
Commissioner T. Rodriguez,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward,
Aye.
and Chair Greg.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right.
Awesome. The next item on the agenda is item number 5, staff comments. Does staff have a presentation?
Yeah, actually, I have a few things to go over, give you some updates. The first one being the Performing and Visual Arts Grant. As a refresher, so the PVAG, the last time it was active was for the 2019-2020 fiscal year, and of course the pandemic hit. A lot of that was on hold. As if you remember last time, it was I was trying to make the effort to reach out to the recipients. I believe there were 24 recipients of the grant from the 2019-2020 year. And it was really hard to get in contact with them, and I wasn't sure like where they were. But at this time, I was able to contact almost all of them with the exception of 2. So we still have 2 recipients who have not gotten back to me on how they've been doing with the grant. The good news is everyone else has reported back, and they have completed the grant requirements. A couple of them are still actually partnering with the library because they haven't expended their grant money yet. So we are going to do some programming here at the library in the coming months. One of the organizations is Arts for Learning. I don't know if are familiar with them. Arts for Learning, in the past, they've used the PVAG for performances at the library anyway. So they're going to be doing like like jazz quartets and all sorts of different types of like musical performances. The other one is the Chula Vista. No, I'm sorry, not the Chula Vista. The Guild of Puppetry, San Diego Guild of Puppetry. They were supposed to put on some performances for the community, and they could not do any of that. So instead, they are making puppet kits for families, and those are going to be distributed by the library. I believe for our summer reading program. So look for that. That's going to be a lot of fun, where we can just give out puppets from the Guild of Puppetry, and hopefully, if the conditions are right, they could put on a performance of puppets for us as well. So we're really excited about that. That we're able to kind of pivot the PVAG, a couple of the awardees, and just have them do programming for the library. So that's where we are now. That's actually pretty good news. I still have again a couple of the recipients who have not gotten back to me, and I'm hoping to reach out to them again soon. An update also, and I know I know Chair Jay Rodriguez, you were asking about Mccandless Awards. So again, this year we're not doing any awards or any PVAG, including Mccandless Arts Awards, unfortunately, and it's kind of sad because people are reaching out to us and asking, are the awards up this year? And unfortunately, we're just not able to get those out and get that program rolling again. So, but the good news is the 2019 Mccandless Award recipients my plan is to recognize them at an upcoming commission meeting. I know normally they would be at a council meeting in person. I know they were supposed to have done it in 2020. That wasn't going to happen. So I think what we're just going to end up doing is like doing it at the next meeting, probably in the May meeting, the Cultural Arts Commission meeting, and I will just have them present, or I'll just have a presentation where we invite them and we can just recognize them at least virtually. Really, it's the least we can do for them. They were awarded, and then the pandemic hit. So look for that in the agenda for next time. Other kind of good news, I know with the Economic Development Subcommittee, Commissioner Redondo, yeah, I know you were talking about possible incentives for businesses, for businesses who support the arts. I actually put that forward to our Economic Development Department, and they like it. They like the idea. And the next step is to actually have my department, the community, we're under Community Services Department. So Community Services Department will have to explore what that would look like, and then they can work with economic development to see how that could possibly be done. So there's all we at this point we're just going to have to like put together some kind of proposal, like what exactly does that mean? What do you mean by art? Is it performing arts? Is it visual? You know, there's a lot of things to consider, but really the good news is that they're open to it and they're actually thankful that they're brought into the conversation. If it gets to the point where we're actually going to do this, I can invite staff from economic development to discuss it a little further, probably even with the subcommittee, just to get things rolling like quickly, just to answer some quick questions. So I just wanted to share that with you all, that was actually like received really well. Another update is the library is going to start a branded series of programs or events or features under the arts. Don't know what it's going to be called yet, but it's going to be something along the lines of what LA Public Library does, which is called LA Made. And LA Made is a series of programs of live streams that they do featuring arts in LA, local artists, local anything really, just like that's made in LA. It can be cooking, it can be painting, it can be music, it can be, as long as it's something that was made in LA, that's what they were featuring. So we want to do something similar with that. And I'm excited about this because I tried to do this at San Diego Public. I tried to do my own like branded series. It was called Discover You. Never quite made it to fruition, but I wanted to do something where it was like, that where we can showcase local talent, creativity. And so that's what is sort of the initial idea for it. And I like this because I know with that umbrella, a lot of what the subcommittees are doing, we can kind of fold that under that, and under this series that is yet to be named, branded series of arts. We can call it CV Made, but it sounds a little like LA Made. But we can kind of toss around ideas for an actual name for it. But again, really the vision is to highlight and showcase local art, students and professional artists, everybody who has something to offer. And
just I was gonna say, just a suggestion on the naming on that was one of the program I was trying to do on 3rd Avenue with art galleries was actually called 105 Arts, and that's because CV is the Roman numerals for 105.
Oh, that's fun.
And so we actually incorporated, said 105 Arts, and incorporated the CV logo.
Very cool.
Roman numerals CV in the logo.
How about chula made?
That's something we were thinking about too, chula made, but yeah, well, if you want to like email me ideas, I would love it. Again, it's just a brand, and what we'll do is we have a designer who can make a logo for us as well, so that we'll go ahead and reach out to them once we have this name down. The other thing I wanted to talk about was it's funny that SDG&E folks talked about reaching out, or some arts organizations where they can get ideas or for artists, because one of the tasks that I also need to do is create basically a database of artists for Chula Vista. This will solve a lot of problems where really sometimes we just need to find out, like, is there an artist that we can go to where we need this? Is there a group that that we can partner with to provide this? There's a lot of those questions that I run into a lot about, like, well, we need an artist for something like this. We need something for something like this. But then we don't know where to go. So I think what we're going to try to do is put together not just a list, but a database or something searchable, where we do have a list of local artists who are currently working or who would like to be featured on the list. It can really be anybody. So this is where I'm going to need everyone's help. And I know I put out that call for the asset mapping subcommittee to help, to add on to the list that we've already put together in that Google Doc. So I'm going to ask again from all of you if you could please email me suggestions for artists that you know or art resources in Chula Vista so that we can add on to this, because that database is now suddenly much bigger than just the asset mapping subcommittees, but it's going to be something that's going to be public that we're going to feature on the website that people can consult. Similar to what the Chula Vista Chamber of Commerce has, I believe they have a database or something that you could search for particular businesses. And in this case, we're going to be doing artists. And don't know what that's going to look like exactly yet, but just know it's also going to be something that's going to be part of this whole like new energized arts efforts that we're going to be doing. I'm sorry, did someone have a question?
I do. Did you end up getting in contact with Lynette to see if she had any list of artists?
No, Lynette actually left the organization, so I was not able to contact her.
She's not working in planning?
No.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, and then I think that was it. Oh, the other thing too, I don't know if you all are familiar with this brochure. This is from a few years back, Art Around Chula Vista. It's really nice. It's just all the public art. Well, not all of it, but like some featured like public art. We want to redo this, and we're looking for funding to redo this so that we can just hand it out to people. This is where you can go around Chula Vista, including a map and locations, to look at all the great public art around town. So yeah, another kind of fun thing we're going to be working on. And I believe that is it from me.
Awesome. Do any commissioners have comments or questions? Alrighty. Next item on the agenda is item 6, chair comments. Regarding the Mccandless for last year's, are you going to be contacting the teachers that nominated those students as well?
The reason I'm even doing this is because a teacher reached out to me.
I think I know who it is.
Mr. Lim?
Yeah. Yeah, it is actually.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been bugging me about it, and I told him I would bring it up at the meeting. So, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure he'll be very happy to know that we're gonna do something.
I let him know that it will be on the agenda for the next one.
Awesome. Now that's all for me. Next item on the agenda is item 7, commissioners' comments. Any commissioners have comments or questions?
I don't know if in-person meetings were going to be happening as San Diego has been opening up.
That we are still waiting word from city management for any kind of green light to start doing that. We at this point, I don't have any news for you or any updates. I don't honestly have no idea when we will do that next.
The county is in the orange tier, but Chula Vista still has large swaths of purple. So I personally would be uncomfortable meeting in person at this point, but that's just me. If we get to a point where some people are comfortable and some are not, are we potentially doing like a hybrid kind of situation?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. It's definitely something we can put on the table and see what we can do. What can be decided. That is, yeah. I didn't think of that. Possibly. I don't know though how we would do that. I'm trying to think of how we do that.
Oh, I could give you ideas, Erwin. That's what we literally do in school every day.
Really?
I'm sure we can figure out a way to do hybrid.
Okay.
Any other commissioners have comments or questions? Go ahead, Jennifer. Sorry.
I do. Just two quick ones. One, please, everyone, if you can, I just wanted to back up Erwin's request about the asset mapping info on Google Docs, and that's real important because all of our networks are so spread out. That would really help us to have that one space so we can even discuss it. That's all out there. So one for that, and two. This is just something to throw out there, but in the past, when we went from a commission that was funded to one that wasn't, and this was, I think, in 2009, when we lost all of our funding, we had meetings that we would come together like this virtually or online every 2 months, and then the month in between, we would, we can meet as our little subcommittee groups. Is that something that that anyone was interested in doing, especially since they've cut our two major projects, the PVAG and the Mccandless? And is that something maybe Erwin would want or consider? Is there a time possibly that you think that we would go to that type of schedule?
Well, I'd have to ask the clerks if, and honestly, I mean, we can set it up in that way. I mean, it can just be because every month I'm asked, like, is there, do you have a reason to meet? Are there any agenda items? But if you want to, we can definitely like make it for the time being, just like every other month. No agenda items within the next time, but I get asked every month, like, do you need to meet next month? And I say yes or no. Last month we didn't meet because, well, no agenda items, but we also, it was just the turnaround for that was a little too quick. And so I didn't have enough agenda items. So that was like naturally couldn't do it. I think it's a format that we can definitely is doable.
I believe the charter supports us to do two meetings every other month, and that if you needed to have a meeting where we would all come together, we can do that. It's within that scope to have an emergency or a meeting in between. So some type of combination of a set two every 2 months with everyone, and then either in between that as a subcommittee or whatever. It's just a thought.
I would actually prefer that. The only reason why is because I think that like if we had a subcommittee meeting next month, then we could have stuff to present to the full committee the following month. Because we're having to squeeze basically another subcommittee meeting in between from month to month, instead of like having the time to if we have to do any work between that subcommittee and the next meeting, we only have like 2 weeks versus like to do work.
Sometimes it's more productive in that way. That's why we did that.
So alternate between like full-blown commission meetings, and then the subcommittees would be on the next month.
Right.
I like that idea.
Can we?
Will that require a motion? Are we able to put a motion on the table for that?
Well, I believe so. So let me first of all check. Again, I want to make sure the clerks are okay with it, because I don't want maybe oh, but you're supposed to meet every month. And I know, I mean, there was a charter, but I'm not familiar with it. So let me check in with them, as I always do with these meetings and scheduling. I have to make sure that the clerks are okay with it.
And while Erwin's doing that, I just thought I'd plant the seed for you to think about it and mull it over, and then we can agendize it possibly once you get that information for the following meeting. Then we can make motion on that.
Can we phrase the motion to where if it's within the scope, like within the clerk's, or if it's permissible via the scope, that we could launch it? So our next meeting would be in June. Am I making sense? So it's, the motion is based on the response from the clerk?
Um, yeah, so I'll have, yeah, and I'm trying to figure out like how I want to do that. I mean, a short answer for all of you is, yeah, I mean, I can basically just make that happen without you making a motion. I could just say there is no agenda item for this month and just kind of like, and it just happens to happen that way. But if you want to make it sort of an intentional, this is the schedule, I want to be, what I want to do first is check with the clerks to see if it's okay. And then what I can do then is it just put it on the agenda item. There will be, if they do say so, then I'll just, say like, yeah, you can do whatever schedule you want, let's say. Then I'll just put it on the agenda, you know,
I think there's not a way to do like pending clerk approval. We set
Right.
a motion to approve this.
I don't know. Because the pending thing is what gets to me, because I feel like there needs to be like a. You mean to make it now?
Yeah,
Or
so
for next
we make it now so that next month is a subcommittee and that we're not meeting again next month.
Oh, so you want to make the motion now to do it?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
No, but you can't, because it's not agendized, so you can't act on it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So then we would be requesting to agendize it for the next meeting.
That was the,
Got it.
yeah.
That's what would happen.
Got it.
So that's all you could, at this point, yeah, we'll put it on. If you want to clarify, or you want to like if you want to articulate it in a particular way, you can email me what you want for an agenda. I mean, that's up to each commissioner. If you want something agendized, you can always just email me and say, hey, I want to put this on the agenda. Is that okay?
Preferably not 5 minutes before the meeting.
Yeah, but we could, between now and next month, if there's no specific agenda, I guess now there is. Because we just put one out there. What I'm saying is, if we don't have a specific agenda item next month, then you could say, hey, we don't have any agenda items this month. Do any commissioners have any? If not, then we would just cancel the meeting for next month, is what you're saying?
Yeah, but we just added an agenda item.
No.
Yeah, we have this and the awards recipients, so next month for sure, but maybe not June, question mark?
Right, and that's kind of like where I'm leading, is that maybe we say, we push this agenda item off to June, right? Then that will give us basically 2 months to, next month, Edwin could be like, and we could be like, hey, there's no agenda items. Do we need a meeting? Then we can be like, no.
Subcommittee.
Then we would know we would have a June meeting.
But we're gonna have a May meeting because we're acknowledging the winners of the recipients of the 2019 awards.
Yeah.
That's already on the May agenda. So
FYI,
that's what you said, right, Erwin?
Yeah, if that's what that was the plan.
Got it.
But not ultimately, but yeah, Chair Gray, if you want to, that's up to you. That's kind of also like your decision if you want to add things to the agenda or not.
just so you know, in the past, whenever we did the awards for Mccandless, it was always in June because May they have graduation. So just consider that it's always been that June 2nd meeting at the courthouse, or when we have our meetings. So.
At the council, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so that's something to consider. So we may want to just go ahead and just push it to June anyway. That's good to know. And you never know, council may suddenly be in session, and if that's the case, we can just we can have them to go there. But for the Mccandless Award winners, I just want to get them some kind of recognition. I mean, they're just like there was nothing, and so yeah, okay.
All right, do we have any other comments or questions?
So just to clarify what's happening, so we're pushing everything till June, and then if there's an agenda item that Erwin has, then we would have a May meeting. If not, then we would push the meeting till June. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct.
Okay. And
Will there
then
be a subcommittee next month then?
that's what I was assuming there would be.
I would assume.
Right, right.
Okay.
Right, right. And I'll send those invitations out. I had to cancel all of them, sorry, because the timing was a little awkward, so I had to push it.
Cool.
And I can tell you that my schedule has definitely shifted because of school returning. So it would be really interesting, or really beneficial to get back together and talk about availability from a new perspective would be great.
Yeah,
Also-
I'll send something out. I don't know how it's gonna. I mean, I'm probably just gonna send out like a doodle poll or something to see what your schedules are from now.
That works.
Erwin, hang on after this. Travis messaged me back.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Any other comments or questions? All right, moment of truth. It is 7:22 p.m. and I'm adjourning this meeting to the regular meeting on May 10th, 2021 at 6 p.m. It says at 365 F Street, Chula Vista, California, but we all know that means virtual. So, all righty.
All right. I'm gonna stop recording.